Continuing here. So I'm not trying to pick on anyone. I complain about Alex Jones using ad hominem attacks on people, and I still don't like that. But what I really don't like is the profanity, the spirit by which he conveys these things. And of course, I've said this before years ago that I think Alex sometimes gets the lines blurred between drama and this showmanship because he's got a show. It's a radio show, and he's got to be a bit of a shock jock. I mean, that's part of the whole thing, right? So, yes, okay. So let's all agree that that's part and parcel of what we're seeing in Alex Jones. But the other part is where the lines get blurred and where his passion seems to overcome him. His passion, his hatred, his fury over the injustices in our land because he is just wired that way. Kind of like when I was talking about my dad and how he was wired. He was temperamental. And Alex Jones has some of those same qualities that I saw in my dad. And these are men of great renown generally. I mean, people that meet them, they kind of never forget them because they're such characters. And, so Alex Jones is in that category. I myself am a little more subdued. I really personally have figured out that I don't care about making a name for myself, but I care about being a friend to humanity. And that's really the most important thing. Just call me brother, just call me friend because I just want the best for all humanity. And yes, some of us need to repent, okay, if you're evil, if you're not, for example, look, if you're not willing that all the captives be set free, okay, end of story. Do you understand? To grow into a paradigm, a reality whereby we're all free, okay? There's no way for anybody, beyond no way, there's no desire of anybody in that place, okay, to want to oppress another, to want to have a one up on anybody else, to have an advantage over others. Nobody that's going to be found worthy of the earth once it is renewed. This is God's plan. Jesus spelled it out. As simple as that, the renewal of all things. So you let your imagination run wild. All is all, that's complete. That's absolute. That's utter. Okay. So all things are going to be renewed. So let your imagination run wild on that and see if you want to be found worthy and deserving of going to a place like that. But the most fundamental prerequisite to being accepted into a place like that is the state of your heart. And your heart has to be pure. And you have to be willing that everybody be free. Do you understand? To treat everybody exactly, okay, as you wish to be treated when it comes to these macro level issues, okay? And money is a macro issue. It's been a macro issue on the face of the earth for thousands of years. And it still is just as much today. And people's minds are screwed up. Okay, I mean, I could use 101 adjectives. Okay, but we are trained. We have been subjugated. We are like automatons, like brute beasts. Okay, the way we've been trained to accept this so-called reality, and we don't need to. Okay, and I've spelled it out how we can do that with true capitalism. But I'm look. I know I'm peeing into the wind because, look, like I've said before, I don't have a lot of faith in humanity. I just don't. I mean, there's going to be people that just love money too much. They're not going to want to get it. They're not only not going to get it, they don't want to get it. This is, ignorance is bliss issue, and they're going to stick to their guns, stick to their ignorance and just say no. You're just angry with yourself because you didn't jump on the bandwagon soon enough, and you didn't reach into the other side of the class. That's this wealth and income disparity imbalance that keeps growing. That's what they think in their minds. They rationalize a guy like me. They don't understand that. Look, I'm not saying that I would take anything from you. Everybody should have plenty. Is what I'm saying. Is that you've got to be willing that everybody be born in a state of prosperity. This in order to be born free. That's it. with an understanding fundamentally that the earth belongs to God. We're all God's children, and we therefore an inherited and inherent right to enjoy the resources of this planet. Okay, and we are resources. Humans are the greatest resource, like Adam Smith points out in his book, The Wealth of Nations. That's it. I mean, there's no argument there. That's a matter of fact that with a willing workforce, okay, because that's the only one you want. Otherwise, you're saying, well, we could turn you into slaves, which is what we are. But they don't call it that. They say minimum wage is too high. I'm 15 an hour. You're going to cause inflation. Like that's the reason for inflation over the decades, right? The minimum wage workers, when everybody knows that they have not been getting nearly, that's being intellectually honest, not nearly a commensurate cost of living adjustment over the decades. So no, this scam has been going on a long time. We've let it get very far. People love money, and they're going to keep cutting each other's throats, devouring each other, just prescribing to a dog eat dog, rat race reality. And this is the path of least resistance for them. Just concentrate on your own numbers. Don't care about others. You can't worry. It's the politicians. If they're going to fix stuff, it's their problem. I vote. So leave it to them. I'm not going to discuss this thing. I'm not going to try to learn from all you people that are sorry you didn't jump on the bandwagon soon enough and you didn't get on the right side of this equation. God, I mean, call this communism and call it socialism, call it crony capitalism. You sure as hell can't call it capitalism. You can call it fascism for sure. When the government's involved in they're promulgating what is not in the best interest for the public at large. And anybody that's honest in government, that's not a black hat, knows that's true. Why would the government want to raise your property taxes? Well, that's it. They would manipulate and go along with this manipulation of the cost of housing. Do you understand why they would go along with it? Because the tax assessor makes more money. It's a no-brainer. A child can understand that. Their incentive, they can understand the motive. You say, yeah, but they're government. They work for we. They would never do that. Well, you don't think a few black hats in high positions could steer it that direction? Of course they could. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody's evil in government. Just saying we've got to be intellectually honest. How are we going to extricate ourselves from this mess? It's the only way to confront it. That's fighting the good fight. And even if you lose, at least you can say at the end of the day, I tried my damnedest. I don't want future generations to blame me. Do you want them to blame you? So we all have to speak up as individuals. That's something G. Edward Griffin gets in, is individualism. Yes, individuals, but I also say we need to embrace the collective, like biblically speaking. See, he doesn't get into a lot of that, biblical stuff. But when you look at humanity as a family, okay, into the darkest regions of Africa, okay, all around this freaking globe, man, we are one family. That's the way God wants us to see it. Okay, so I'm saying everybody needs to be born free in their homeland, their native land. Okay, everything is yours. Look at these native tribes, these endemic native tribes in South America and in Africa. They don't care about money. You ever seen these people bartering? They don't barter. They just get what they need. They're hunter-gatherers, and they live like that. I mean, they're more advanced in a lot of ways than, at least they don't ever have to worry about loving money. They don't care about that. Advantage, disadvantage, one up. I mean, they have games and challenges and stuff to, to pacify that craving, I guess, for recreation. But they don't engage in this ridiculous game of so-called capitalism, which is nothing like true capitalism. Hey, look, true capitalism leads to prosperity. Okay, that's the way it works. It's called progress. You start the game. Okay, let's just take a benchmark in history and say, okay, 1963. Okay, minimum wage is X. Your cost of living is Y. You understand? And it's based in ethics, and it's based on justice and what's fair and what is American and what is a reasonable standard of living for citizens that are willing to work out there. Okay, and this is what you could buy with your dollar an hour wages. Okay, so you start the game there. Do you understand? So you're supposed to stick to the rules, but they haven't at all. This has not been capitalism for at least 55 years that I know of. Do you understand? It's been going that direction. Started out slowly, but they've picked up steam. And we're in a lot of trouble. They're going to push this envelope as far as they can. They're going to kick the can as far as they can. They're going to push the buck past the buck as far as they can. Okay? They're going to take this thing on this trajectory of death and destruction as far as they can. Okay, a lot of these people would love to start a civil war believing your enemy is the socialists or your enemy is the capitalists. Okay, just so your eyes are off them in the ivory towers. See, they don't want a revolt or a civil war that's going to displace them. No, they want us, we the people, to be divided. And I'm the guy that's trying to unite you. Okay, that's why I'm trying to influence the influencers. This is the best thing I could imagine doing. Is just point out repeatedly that 90+% of the American people were against the bailout of '08. All of you conservatives and all of you liberals put that in your pipe and smoke it. Do you understand? That's a lot of both of you guys. That you're ethical. You have morals and scruples and standards, and you want fairness and you want justice and, you want to leave this a better world than when you came, not a crappier one. You feel an obligation. You care about your reputation before God and man, what people think about you and your business practices and, what you really want for people, just the regular people at large, okay? And so, everybody's watching, and we should all be watching ourselves. With your mind, observe your mind, your highest mind. Say, God, I invite you in. If I'm wrong about this opinion or that opinion, I want you to correct me. But, like Thurza Andrews, my professor for real estate economics and real estate, taught me, is that, America has been a quasi-socialist nation for a long time. Or, like I think she said, like an amalgamation. Okay, it is a hybrid. Okay, and it's been that way for a long time. I mean, how far back does Social Security go? Okay, so this whole game has been corrupted a long time ago. I'm not saying that that it hasn't. Look, 1913, the Federal Reserve was established. I don't know when Social Security came out. It was quite a bit later than that. But you see, this is an inevitable byproduct of injustice, economic injustice. Okay, this is what happens. This is anti-progress. It's called regression. It happens, it's forced. It's through meddling, the government meddling in things that cause the problem, or tolerating being run roughshod over those that hold the power, and that's the money printing class. That's what's going on here. The politicians, the top politicians we hire, are all subjugated. They're all adulterated by these bankster class, the money printing class. They love the power. They love the money. Okay, more than being honorable to the people and serving the people well. Okay, no, they care about their own personal finances. They a lot of these politicians are wildly rich, and that's part of it. They're teamed up with this bankster class. We've got a big problem, folks, and we got to know, that if we're going to fix this thing, man, we're going to have to work as a collective, as a family, as a unified one. Okay, a force of one against these people. Okay, because this is serious business. But I can tell you what happens automatically, what happens organically, what happens naturally under true capitalism is that your currency steadily increases in worth. Do you see how that would set you free and make you prosperous? So you don't need raises, you don't need cost of living adjustments, because your cost of living tax is in perpetual decline. So automatically the worth of your currency is in perpetual inflation, increase in worth. Okay, that's what goes on naturally. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to put two and two together and say, well, you see where this leads. You see why there's elements in the government and beyond, at the higher realms of this pyramid of power, that would be absolutely opposed to that, because it would set the captives free. It would make everybody financially free. So you understand what's going on. This is theft. This is how they steal from the people. They've got to make sure that there is a huge swath of people, preferably growing swath of people, that is hopeless, that will never be able to reach the bar, crack the nut. So they're going to be dependent on the state. They're going to have to go beg and put hat in hand, go to the social welfare agencies, and lay out their life story and why they're failures in life, and they can't take care of themselves. and so on and so forth. Do you understand how this is absolutely untenable, this state of affair in America? I mean, how much are we going to take? Really, how bad would it take? People talk a lot. They talk about hyperinflation. I hear this all the time. They're talking about it on the Kaiser report. Other people talk about it. And I think, you know what? You haven't been paying attention. Y'all are behind the curve. Okay, you need to come out to California. Okay, come on out here and see if you still believe that that's what we need and that's what's going to happen. Do you understand? I mean, this bandwagon is uh, one hay straw away from breaking. Do you understand? The wheels, they're riding this thing till the wheels are just going to just completely collapse. I mean, it's just going to be a kabam. But no, we can't have any more inflation. Only the people that have money to burn can experience more inflation.